Hello, and welcome to episode 6 of our Sports Card Tracker series. Today we will look at creating the submenu variation. In episode 5, when we created the add card, we created the combo box variation. The user should have an idea of what this means. But first, we're going to make changes to our help menu. We are going to group variation and condition into a new submenu under the help menu called collection information. Next, we will move the variations menu from the help menu to the submenu. So under the help menu, we're going to create a new menu, and we're going to call this collection information menu equals new menu, and we're going to give this a value of collection information. Now I'm going to comment for submenu collection information. And I'm going to cut and paste the variation menu into this subsection. And we're going to create a new menu item. And I'm going to call it condition help item equals new menu item. And I'm going to give it the value of conditions. Now I'm going to add these to our collection information menu. So I'm going to add the variations and the condition help item to our collection information menu. So collection information menu dot get items dot add all, and I'm going to put in here condition help item and variations help item. Now at the first of the help menu, I'm going to add our submenu, collection information menu, and then I'm going to remove our variations help item from the menu. Okay, missing an N, put that in. Now down here, we're going to add our handler for condition help item set an action, and we're going to put our menu event handler there. Now up in our switch case, before the about menu, I'm going to put in a new case, and I'm going to call that variations, and we're going to call the constructor variation help menu. I'm going to name my variable variations equals new variation help menu, and I'm going to pass that our stage. So the constructor hasn't been created yet, so let's create that now. We're going to add a new class, and I'm going to call this class variation help menu. So now our class is created. So we want to create our constructor. So it's public variation help menu, and we're going to accept a stage, and we want it named primary stage. Now we'll want to add our import. We have several variables that we have to declare at the first, our constructor. So if we want a stage, and I want to call this stage variation menu equals new stage. Now we don't want the user to be able to resize this. So variation menu dot set resizable, and we want that to be false. So now we want to declare our border pane. So border pane, and we're going to call it variation layout. new border pane. Now we'll have to add our import. Now we don't want the user to be able to use the program while the menu is open, so we're going to add our modality. Variation menu dot init modality, and we're going to change our modality to application modal. Now we want to declare the owner, so variation menu dot init owner, and we're going to pass that our primary stage. Now before we get to the body of our menu, we want to add a close button to the bottom. So close button, and we're going to put in the same kind of close button that we used in the About menu in a previous episode. So button close button equals new button, and we're going to give it the value of close. Now don't forget to add your imports. So we have to set up our action event. Close button dot set on action, and we're going to set an action event. We're going to call this a close event. Now don't forget to add your import. So we want to declare a stage, and it's going to be given the value that's passed to a stage. So close button dot get theme that called the close, and then get the window, which basically means to close itself, and then we say stage dot close. So we want to set up a maximum size for this button. So close button dot set max size, and we're going to give it the value of 150 by 50. Now we want this button to have focus when the window is opened. So close button dot set default button. So we want a container to hold the button, and we're going to use an hbox to do this. So hbox, and I'm going to call it a close button box equals new hbox, and there's only one item in this box, so I will use the value of 1. Don't forget to add your import for the hbox. So we want the button to be centered in our button box, so close button box dot set alignment, and we're using POS center. Now we want to add the button to our box, so close button box dot get children dot add. We're only adding one item, so we use add. So now we want to add all of our contents to the menu. Contents of variation menu, and we want to give it a title. So variation menu dot set title, and we are going to give it the value of sports card tracker, how to identify variations. Now we want to add an icon. So variations menu dot get icons dot add, and we want a new image, and our location of the image is com/bore/resources/about icon.png. We want to add our import for image. And I've got an extra S in the variations menu. I'm going to remove that. Now we want to set our scene for our variation menu. So variation menu dot set scene and variation scene. Finally, variation menu dot show. Okay, I missed a step up here under the primary stage. Set up scene. So our scene is going to be scene variation scene equals new scene, and we're going to use variation layout, and we're going to use the same dimensions as our main program, main dot default width and main dot default height. So now you can see there's no longer an error. Now I'm going to add our import for the scene. Now if we were to run this, you can see our new submenus. We have conditions and variations. So if I clicked on variations, so as you can see, because I forgot to put the break in, both the variation menu and the about menu came up at the same time. I'm going to fix that by adding our break in here. Now if I were to run it again and I choose variations, I only get the variation menu. As you can see, we've got our title set up and we've got our icon set up. You can't resize it and you can't use the program underneath. Now we're going to add our body to the variation menu. Let's go back into our variation help menu. So under our setup scene, where we declared our scene, we're going to create an H box and we're going to call it title box equals new H box. And we're only going to have one item in here, and we're going to declare a V box, and we're going to call it VB variations equals new V box, and we're going to have 3 items in here, and then I'm going to add my import. So for our title box, I want to have the information in the title box centered. So set alignment, and we're using POS center. Now I'm going to give it a title. So we're going to use text. We're using text because it allows us to use style sheets to format the text. So text, txt variations equals new text. And we're going to give it the value types of variations. Now we want to add our import for text, and we're going to add that to our title box. Title box dot get children add txt variations. Now we're going to set the style for our text. So txt variations dot set. Now we want it to have a font weight of bold. So fx font weight bold. We want to have it bigger. So we're using fx font size, and we're giving it a value of 16. So now we're going to start listing out the different types of variations. So text txt image variations 01 equals new text, and I'm going to give this the value of image variations, and we want a new line, Now this is going to be a subtitle, so we want to set a different font weight to it. So text, image, variations, o1 dot set style, and we're going to use the same style above for our font weight. I'm just going to copy that and paste it in. So now we want to add a description of what an image variation is. So text, txt, image, variations, o2 equals new text, and we're going to use a text area. I'm just going to align everything. We put in here the text cards with image variations have the same card number as their base cards, equivalent, but with a different photo. These photos often show players in different poses, without helmets, or in alternate uniforms. Now we're going to add our next category. So text, txt, parallels, o1 equals new text, and I'm going to give this the value of parallels, and we'll add a new line. Now this is a subtitle again, so we want to give it the same style as our previous one. So text, parallels, o1 dot set style. We're just going to copy and paste from the one above. Now we want to put in our description. So text, txt, parallels, o2 equals new text. And we're using a text area again. Oh, I'm just copying and pasting in the text, getting rid of the extra spaces. So a parallel has the same layout as a base card, but it uses a different foil or holographic technology like refractors or border colors to denote scarcity. So now we're going to add our next subcategory, text, txt, short, print, o1 equals new text, and we're giving this the value of short prints, and in brackets SP, and super short prints, or SSP. And we want a new line. Now we want to set the style for this as well. Text, short prints, o1 dot set style. So we're going to grab the style from above, copy and paste that in. Now we want to add in our description. So text, txt, short print, o2 equals new text. And we're using the text area again. These are cards that are produced in much lower quantities than the base card. So our next category is error cards. So txt error cards o1 equals new text, and we're using the value error or corrected cards, and put in a new line. This is a subcategory, so we're using the same style as the previous one. So text error cards o1 dot set style, and we'll just copy and paste from above. Now we want to add the description. Text txt error cards o2 equals new text, and we're using a text area again, and we'll copy and paste into here. These are incredibly rare variations that fix a mistake from an initial printing. The errors include name misspelling or wrong photos. Our next subcategory, text, txt, theme, color, match equals new ext. We're giving this the value of theme, color, match. And we'll add a new line. Now we want to set the style, txt, theme, color, match, 01. We left out the 01, put that in. Dot set style. We're going to use the same style as above. Now we want to add our description. So it's text, txt, theme, color, match, 02 equals new text. We're using a text area, and we'll copy into there a type of parallel designed to feature colors that match the player's team. Next is serial numbers. txt serial numbers 01 equals new text. And we're putting in the value of serial numbers. And we'll put a new line. We want to set the style. txt serial numbers 01 dot set style. We'll copy and paste style from above. Now we want to add the description, text, txt serial numbers 02 equals new text. We'll put in our text area, fix our alignment. The most reliable method is to check the fine print on the back of a card. A different code suffix, usually higher, indicates a variation. Unfortunately, not all cards have serial numbers. Different brands will not use them. Now, our next category is visual inspection. So it's text, txt, visual inspection 01 equals new text, visual inspection, and we'll add a new line at the end. We want to add our style, txt visual inspection 01 dot set style, and we're just going to copy and paste that from above. Now we'll add our description, so text txt visual inspection 02 equals new text with our text area. Paste that in, and we'll do up our alignment. Well, it says look for different logos, colored borders, or a different photo compared to the base cards. And our last category is checklist verification. txt checklist verification equals new text, and we'll put in the value of checklist verification. We want to set up our style. So txt. Oh, we left out the 01. We'll put that in. So for our style, it's txt checklist verification 01 dot set style, and we'll just copy and paste that from above. Now we want to add in our description, so text txt checklist verification 02 equals new text. We want to put in our text area, and I'm going to paste in the value. Collectors often use third-party sites to verify if a card is a variant. Now we're going to compile this all into one meaningful block of text. To do this, we are going to use what is called a text flow. To declare it, it's text flow and I'm using TF for TextFlow, variations equals new text flow. And in here, we want to list everything in the order that we want them to appear. I'm going to add my import first. So the first item is text image variations, txt image variations 01, then txt image variations 02. And the next one is parallels, txt parallels 01, and txt parallels 02. Then the next one is short print, txt short prints 01, and then txt short prints 02. And after short prints is our error cards, txt error cards 01, followed by txt error cards 02. Then we're going to put in our theme color matches, txt theme color match 01, txt theme color match 02, and then our serial numbers, txt serial numbers 01, followed by txt serial numbers 02, and then txt visual inspection 01, txt visual inspection 02, and the last pair is txt checklist verification 01 and txt checklist verification 02. Now the last thing that we want to do is we want to combine everything all together into our VB box. So the three parts to add to our VB box is the title box, the text flow, and the close button. So after all three of those, we're going to set up a section for our VB box. So VB variations dot get children dot add all, and we're going to list everything in the order that we want them to appear. So first things first is we want our title box, then we want our text flow, and finally we want our close button. Had a little spelling mistake with variations. I corrected that. Now we want to set up our alignment. Set alignment. And our alignment, we want to have top left. And finally, we want to add our VB variations to our layout. Variation layout dot set center, and we are going to add VB variations. Now, when we compile this and run it, when we go under the help menu and we look at variations, we can see everything's aligned. So for our checklist verification, I see there's a spelling mistake and it's missing the new line. So let's correct that. Checklist verification, and we want to add a new line. I'll add a K here for the checklist. And I want to add an extra line to the end. So now we'll compile and run it. Then we look at it again. Everything's aligned up. So that's it for episode 6. Tune in next time for episode 7, where we'll look at creating the condition help menu.